Yo.
Bombastic side-eye. Gambare, gambare.
How did I get work in anime? I'll break down the process in 7 steps. Just briefly because I want to help you all and make a whole as detailed video about how to actually get work in anime. When will I do that? I have no idea, but I will do it. I'm so kind. 1. I did research on how you can get work in the anime industry. This included adding tweets to my bookmarks, aka stalking animators, watching videos, reading articles and posts, and actually messaging animators, aka collecting data. I was in my data collection era. 2. I am organized because if I don't make little systems in my silly ass brain, I will go insane. So I made playlists containing important videos, saved important documents on my computer in a separate folder. I even made Pinterest boards. 3. Studying. I studied Satsuma and the anime survival kit. I studied and analyzed how animation gods animate anime, aka how their LO and genga or dainigenga look. 4. I started practicing. I had a little advantage here since I am not a beginner, but I still had to gain some new skills since anime is a whole as different territory in animation. I mean, the fundamentals, aka the main ingredients, are the same, but the cake looks different. I actually did not practice that much, but I still learned a lot because I learned in a smart and effective way. I'm actually not that dumb. 5. I reorganized and made my portfolio look more appealing. I will mention a very funny detail about this later in the video. I also wrote a nice bio on Twitter, started posting my work on YouTube, and followed a bunch of production assistants and animators. 6. At this point, I was like, I still don't have enough material that's specifically going about fucking Weibo, and started DMing PAs. 7. I got work. Let's go.
Yeah, get into it!
Some of you might be like, sister, you might have left something out. Bro, the dogs are barking outside. They're not my dogs. They're the neighbor's dogs. I'm sorry about that. Okay, so I am doing all these steps I just mentioned, right? Let's stop at step 6 because that's where things get exciting. I know some of you know the feeling when your DMs on Twitter get flooded with those bots and fake sus accounts. Happens to me every day and it's absolutely annoying. But on a random day in August, I came across a DM request that looked different. So I opened this message and it's a long ass message in Japanese looking legit. No sus links, and it's not from a weird fake bot account either. This message was from a production assistant. Bruh, when I tell you my heart almost jumped out of my chest. I had so many questions, but I needed to calm the F down, so first of all, I Ctrl-C, Ctrl-V that thing into Google Translate. I know a bit of Japanese, but I am not on that level, okay? So, this person asked if I wanted to take part in a production that started in September.
Yes! Yes!
Oh my god. Oh my god.
Life does not. Oh my God. Oh my God.
Before I start talking about the details, let me tell you this whole situation was a bit mysterious because this PA and I were not mutuals. I have no idea how he found me. I know some animators get contacted by production assistants, but the reason I'm saying it was kind of interesting is because I hardly posted any work on my account. It was either that he found me completely randomly or another PA who saw my message redirected me to him. Maybe one day I will ask. So yeah, he sent the details, a form that I have to fill out, and later all the materials as well. That's how I knew this was real and this was really happening to me. I let him know that my Japanese is not on the level where I can communicate fluently and that I am using a translator, and I apologize in case of making any mistakes. In the beginning stages, I sent messages in both languages. I also tried to use Keigo when I was still communicating in Japanese. Later, the PA switched fully to English. That was very kind of him. He was so helpful, polite, and respectful and patient. Shout out to the GOAT. When I got the materials, aka the storyboard, character and prop designs, references, artboards, templates, and the folders with my name, I started working on the cuts. Girl, let's stop for a second. How did this bitch, aka me, got layouts to work on out of the blue? Because you usually start with Doga or dainigenga. If you're a freelance animator who isn't based in Japan, then probably dainigenga. But I got thrown into some deep water again, as usual, which is so me. Like, how did this PA trusted the ability of a random little animator on the internet? I was like, do I even have the ability? I was nervous, but at the same time I was like, damn bitch. Because this was the first time I made layout for a production like this and not just for some random personal or uni project. And you're telling me I am doing it just like that? Shit's scary, but give me challenges. Let me serve. The pressure was high because this is where the actual animation process starts. Like, if I F up, the second key animation is effed up as well. The in-betweens too, obviously. The responsibility, bro. I knew I had to lock in. I started with translating my parts from the storyboard. Now this has its own process again. I came up with an own method for this. Do you want to know how I did it? Maybe if you subscribe and wait patiently for the video, I talk about it. Maybe. I put the little printed storyboard on my desk, grabbed some paper, a nice mechanical pencil, my eraser, colored pencils, my light table, opened the materials on my computer, and started drawing. Finally, I drew a big chunk of the cuts on paper. In the beginning, I even drew the color markings on paper, but then I switched drawing them digitally. I only drew the cuts fully digitally where there were 3D elements included in the environment. Let's talk about my workflow next. First, I'm so sorry, you all, but I can't show any of my work here or on any other platform because I don't want to get sued. At the time of me starting to work on this video, the trailer of the anime hasn't even come out yet. But I post about it once it comes out for real. I don't want you to all think I'm capping. If you want proof, I have already shown some screenshots, but obviously I don't want to post or put the PA's messages in the video. That wouldn't be a kind thing to do. I will show some more screenshots if any of you are still skeptic, but I have to blur most things once the anime starts airing. I won't shut up though. So, first I sketch the characters and the backgrounds on paper. Sometimes I switch from this to that. I also suggest you to do this when animating or just doing anything creative so that your brain stays somewhat refreshed. You're more likely to stay focused. It's also easier to notice mistakes if you did any after going back to a task you started first. I hate to leave my frames too messy. I only do it if I really don't have time. This is good and bad at the same time. I want to make the job of the next person working on the cut easier. I'm also a perfectionist. It is what it is. Sometimes I make my own life harder. If I take it too far, that obviously means the amount of time I spend on a cut will increase a lot, which means I will make less money in a certain amount of time. And we know working in the anime industry doesn't pay too well, so I should consume some IDGAF pills next time and leave my drawings just a tiny bit messier. This still doesn't mean I will put ugly ass work on the table, but I should really be faster. That will come with practice though, so I don't want to stress about it. Plus, the directors and the second key and in-between animators appreciate when your work is clean. After I drew the base, I scanned the elements of the layout and put them in the Clip Studio file of the cut. The layer order and folder system is another topic again, but it's not that hard to learn. Then I drew the lines of the color markings and filled the parts. I advise you to make a separate palette in CSV for each project. Getting used to the workflow was not that hard, but the timesheet.
Bruh.
Oh my god, bro.
Oh, hell no, man. What the fuck?
We're flying to Philadelphia! Oh, hell no! That's hell no! Whoa!
The timesheet was kicking my ass. It is what it is, you have to learn it. I'm not saying it's that difficult, but a lot of info like the camera movement, serifu, aka dialogue, additional notes, etc. have to be written in Japanese. So go sit down or stand up, I don't know, whatever. Study and practice katakana and hiragana at least. And again, study Satsuma and the anime survival kit. I did, but I still made some mistakes. It's funny how I made more mistakes with the timesheets than the animation itself. After a while, you get used to it, so there's no need to worry. Talking about mistakes, always pay attention to the little notes and the different colors of the checks of the directors when they ask you for a retake before starting second key animation. The word retake might sound scary first, but it's really not that deep, except if you drew something completely different from what you were supposed to. That's why you need to make sure you know what you have to animate. But even before you actually start to draw, spend a bit of extra time thoroughly reading the text on the storyboard and in the lineup sheet, which is usually an Excel file containing important information about the characters and the environment, background info, props, and so on. For example, if a character's clothes are dirty and tattered, you will find that information in the lineup sheet. Please check everything, especially because not all the details and instructions are written on the storyboard. Yes, the storyboard is the base and it's very important, but things unfold during the animation process and some details might actually change a bit. I know this might seem overwhelming, especially because everything is in Japanese, but you have internet access. You can Ctrl+C, Ctrl+V a lot of things into an online translator. There are image translators even, and if you don't understand something, please ask your PA, because if you make a big mistake later, it will be a pain in the ass, and it will take a lot more time to correct your mistakes than spending 10 more minutes on trying to figure out what the hell you're supposed to draw. You might just stare at your screen like the 1000-year-old guy, because there will be an unreadable, ugly-ass note written in kanji on the storyboard or the CSV file, but what can you do, man? It'd be like that sometimes. Most of you probably know, but I will say just in case. Layouts usually don't consist of just one frame, except if the cut is a still image. So you always have to at least draw a start and an end frame, and if it's a longer cut, you have to draw some more frames. Once you're done with drawing the layout, you can fill in the timesheet. I assume some animators prefer doing this while animating. I prefer to fill it in after because of slight adjustments in the timing, and especially if I add 1 or 2 cells aka folders in my file while I am still in the animation process. Then you have to export every frame of every cell, books, and the background in a folder. Pay attention to naming the files and the folder properly. At first, I didn't know I had to export every single element separately, and the production assistant used the word output, and I was a bit confused and I almost started to panic because for some reason I started to overthink and I thought I had to redraw everything from zero on the first cut I sent. But then it turned out I just had to export everything separately, including the timesheet, so I was like, whew, okay. They might ask you to do tiny corrections in this stage too. Let's say you forgot to draw dirt on the characters' faces or something. They might be like, hey buddy, please add this and this, but the real corrections come after this stage. And don't worry, it won't be difficult if you read the instructions and the lineup and you stayed consistent with the art style and the character designs, right? Oh, and you will most likely use GigaFile for transferring files. Good old GigaFile. I also mentioned some colors, right? These are red, yellow, and green in order. They will contain corrections from the episode director, animation supervisor, and the chief animator. If you animate second case too, pay attention to these and follow the instructions and notes written on the layers. I got some second key animation work as well, and I actually could work on some of my own cuts that I drew the layouts for. The process of this is somewhat similar to making layouts, but this time you animate more obviously, and if the base is solid, the animation will go more smoothly. Sometimes it might actually take less work than making layouts. You don't have to draw everything on each frame. Let's say you only have to animate the eyes because the face and body aren't moving. It depends on the cut really. So I added the second case to my layouts, then boom, the nigen animation was done. I was genuinely surprised by the amount of work I got. Sometimes I was close to going insane. I was cooked, I was actually fried and roasted because all of this happened at the exact same time I got a new job. So no wonder I was gone from YouTube for months. And on top of that, something very important happened in November, which is personal, so I won't talk about it, at least for now. It's crazy how much this situation made me improve in such a short period of time. It seemed long though because I had so much work I couldn't even take a day off for months. I learned a lot. I learned a bunch of new things. I am grateful. If you have any questions, feel free to ask them. Please add your own opinion. Let me know if you found this video interesting or helpful. I am open to hearing negative criticism even. I appreciate the feedback, and as I mentioned, I will help you all, and I'm giving and will give out a lot of info for free. So please consider subscribing. Thank you very much. Love and peace.